What's up, y'all?
It's the world famous.
You're listening to The Darren Greene Show.
Right here.
Welcome. I am your humble host, Darren Greene, back with another episode of The Darren Greene Show. Please hit that subscribe button if you can and give us a rate and review. Follow us at TDGS Media on Instagram and Twitter. And if you're watching the video on Darren Greene TV, hit that like button and also subscribe if you haven't. All of that information is in the description from wherever you are listening or watching this podcast on. Now, okay, so I know I said I wasn't going to do an episode this week because I wanted to give myself a break, and also I was going to be home for the Thanksgiving weekend. But some things came out this week, and as you can tell by the title, you know, the fucking Grammys. Yeah, that. This stirred up a lot of conversation, a lot of arguments between people, and there's a lot to unpack here, essentially. One thing I want to add before I get started with this is that I just love celebrities taking jabs at each other, and also I love the and I know that sounds so terrible to say because it's like, oh my, you're like loving drama and this and that. Well, I mean, this is a drama podcast, but I'm just saying, like, it was something that I enjoyed back when I was in high school because I used to love award shows from like early 2010s to now, essentially. Well, I don't know, award shows got corny now, but back in the 2010s era, like, award shows used to be lit. Okay, you had the Kanye West moment, you had the Molly What's Good moment, like you had moments in, like, it was a moment in pop culture. So like, to say that I love to see that, because celebrities used to do this all the time, like it would be before the award show and it just builds up like hype for the show. Now, I don't know if all of this is planned or they're doing this for their own personal gain and clout or whatever, but I like it. And what I like more about it is not really that they're coming for each other, they're not taking jabs at each other, but they're really taking jabs at the powers that be, which is the Grammys. It starts with rapper Cardi B, honey, because in the beginning of the week, she was defending herself about her win last year, Grammy win last year, essentially. If you guys don't know, she won for Best Rap Album. She went up against people like Nipsey Hussle, Travis Scott's album, Astroworld, which was a juggernaut of its time because it made like those albums. Well, Astroworld, I don't know about Nipsey Hussle, they just gave that to him. Not to be rude, but they gave it to him because you know. But like with Cardi, her and Travis's album, you know, they sold a lot of records. I like to say Cardi B probably sold a little bit more, and that's why they gave it to her. And I know, like, a lot of people say, oh, the Grammys don't award numbers. The Grammys award, you know, albums that are critically acclaimed and albums that have a message. Girl, bye. That damn Invasion of Privacy did not have no damn message. And at the end of the day, the Grammys award numbers. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. But anyway, how it started officially was this verified Twitter account that's called the Academy Music Business. They sent out a tweet and said that Cardi B's label paid for her Grammy. They said they paid for the votes. And if you do know, there's a panel of people that decide who wins certain categories in the official Academy Awards show. Now, I want to take a step back and talk about Deborah Dugan. She's an ex-CEO of the Academy, and she recently exposed the Grammys for their corrupt practices and shady politics. She wrote an open letter talking about how artists that deserve Grammys were snubbed because of corrupt practices, that the voting process was rooted in corruption, that Grammy producers would award artists for performing at their show, and there was gender bias and color bias when it came to awarding or nominating artists in the more prestigious award categories like the Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year. You'll mainly see like a couple artists of color just to keep the diversity. You know, hey, we have diversity, we have like these artists that are nominated, but like some of them don't even win, first of all. Second of all, it's like there's a whole lot of other artists, but we're gonna get into that. Keep that in mind about Deborah Dugan. Back to Cardi. She ranted the shit out this page, talking about they're not really connected to the music industry, that they scam smaller artists and they pay for their verification sticker. Because if you don't know, the Academy Music Business page on Twitter is verified, so it makes people think, you know, hey, I mean, they have to be telling the truth. Their verified sticker, like verified stickers don't usually say things that aren't true. What's crazy about that whole situation was she first initially came back at them, she did not deny at all that her label paid for the Grammy. Like, you would think someone like Cardi that loves to respond and get, her comeuppance as a way to, call someone out for calling them out, essentially. You would think she'd be like, no, that never happened. My label did not pay for the Grammy. We'll get into that a little bit later. Thing about it is, though, it was after that, that moment where Cardi was coming for this page, the Recording Academy released the nominations list. And baby, when I tell you, well, first of all, shout out to Beyonce for, she's stealing the awards. And I was surprised. I was very much surprised because, I talk very critical about Black is King and The Gift and all that. But she managed to snag a lot of award nominations. Shout out to Doja Cat for snagging a couple as well. Shout out to Meg Thee Stallion for snagging a couple as well. I think Gaga got like 2. Love Chromatica. Gaga was nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album. The initial list was good. I mean, I thought it was okay. It definitely could have had a lot more artists on there. There was a lot of uproar about the nomination snubs, and it's starting with The Weeknd. Okay. After Hours arguably was one of the biggest albums of the year, including with his single Blinding Lights was a really good song. The fact that he got snubbed, and this proves Deborah Dugan's point when they say, the Grammys awards people because, they perform for shows or whatever. The thing about it is, though, people are theorizing that his snub was because he chose to perform at the Super Bowl, which makes no sense because the Super Bowl and the Grammys are in, 2 different days. It's not like it's on the same day at the same time. So he could have clearly did both. But a lot of people theorizing this because of that reason. They snubbed him because he decided to do the Super Bowl performance. And I'm like, he can't do both, or maybe he turned down the Grammys. I don't know. It's not clear. That's why everything is alleged. But he got snubbed and he don't deserve to get snubbed. Okay. I'm not really a fan of Abel like that, but I'd give props when it's due. And After Hours was arguably one of the biggest albums of the year, and it should be nominated. Now, a slew of R&B artists like Summer Walker, Her, Ari Lennox, Tiana Taylor, and a whole lot more was also snubbed as well. And, it speaks a lot about, going back to Deborah Dugan and how certain artists aren't getting nominated because of race bias. Or I wouldn't say race bias, but I guess to say because of race or gender bias as well. Because, it just doesn't make any sense. Like Summer Walker really... if we're going to award numbers, Summer Walker did arguably have a great album rollout. Like, she sold a lot of records. I don't know much about Ari Lennox now, but you definitely her did well as well. But, it just says a lot about the Grammys and how, how they pick their artists. Nicki Minaj makes a statement. It was around that same time. And this is essentially what she says word from word. I never forgot when the Grammys didn't give me Best New Artist when I had 7 songs simultaneously charting on the Billboard and a bigger week than any female rapper in the last decade. Went on to inspire a generation. They gave it to a white man, Bon Iver. # Pink Friday. Baby, what I tell you, when she wrote that, first of all, the barbs went crazy. We all went crazy. Yeah, for those who don't remember, Nicki received major backlash and was blackballed from the Grammys because of her performance. She performed Roman Holiday, and it made the Catholics mad and made a lot of people feel like, why would she do this on the untimely death of Whitney Houston? She refused to comply to one of the Grammy executive producers, Ken Ehrlich, and she essentially has been canceled since on the Grammys. There's no question that she was snubbed because of her being blackballed. The music that she came out with after Pink Friday skyrocketed. So this is another artist that takes a jab at the Grammys. And I just forgot to mention that The Weeknd came for the Grammys as well. He called them corrupt, and he said that his fans and his team and he deserves transparency. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot that was going on this week, and I'm like, whoa. The Academy Music Business, the Twitter page, fires back at Cardi, giving more insight to how labels buy Grammys. He basically just talks about like the politics on how labels buy the awards, where they win the producers over so that their artists can get awarded. This infuriates Cardi B to a point where she actually goes live on IG with another rant. And she poses a question which was interesting, that she said, why didn't, if my label pays for awards, why didn't they award Bodak Yellow when I submitted that song? Because she submitted Bodak, she admitted that she submitted Bodak Yellow and it didn't get picked up, obviously. She also claimed how her album sold more than her competitors. My thing is this with the whole Bodak Yellow thing. And look, I'm not trying to toot my own horn and say how good of a liar I am, and but it makes perfect sense for them not to try to pay for that Grammy now, because it would just look like you already have the cheat codes. Okay, Cardi, let's be clear. Like you have a lot. Okay, a lot of good things that happen to you, you know, post Love and Hip Hop. So it would look so unrealistic for you to win like right off the bat the first time around. You get me? The first year around, give you like a body of work and then pay for that Grammy. However, this is all alleged. You know, is she deserving? Is she deserving of this award? It's very cloudy right now. But I do know this. She goes to say that she works hard and that she also, it's not her fault that she got the award before her favorite artists. And I felt like that was a little ping to like Nicki. To be honest, I mean, it could have been a ping to like other artists. I'm sure there's like other artists that was out before Cardi that didn't get an award, or she got an award before. It's not just Nicki. Like we can't just pit women against each other. But I'm gonna tell you guys how Wiz Khalifa got into it. Okay. I told you, it's just a whole lot that's going on with this conversation. So Wiz Khalifa commented on a tweet complaining that Cardi got the tweet was complaining that Cardi got an award before Nicki. And his response was saying that most self-made artists have this problem. And Cardi responded. And it was a series of tweets. Her Offset said something too. One thing that caught my attention was when she said, I never understand why dudes entertain tweets that pit women against each other. And I'm just like, what? Like, I know we're not talking about this now. Like, I know for sure we're not talking about this now. Like, girl, you literally did nothing. And it was like a fake Isaiah Banks page, you know, now it's confirmed that it's fake, that said now it's pitting women against each other. But when they were doing that to Nicki, they was literally putting her into the ground to uplift you. You said nothing, not a word. And to go back to unpack with the whole self-made thing, because Wiz Khalifa did come back and was like, oh, you are self-made too, and this and that. Like, no, nigga, you said what you said. You insinuated that she wasn't self-made, and I think I have my opinions on Cardi. You know, whether or not I think she deserved that Grammy or not. Maybe not, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But you know, to insinuate that she's not self-made, she's definitely self-made. She's definitely started from the bottom, like a lot of us are right now at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get to the, you know, the top or whatever. To say that she's not self-made is I don't know. I can't buy it. I think she's definitely self-made. I think post Love and Hip Hop, and that's where her career started. That's when she got the cheat codes. That's when she got shit handed to her. But to be perfectly honest, to get her where she's like before she got on Love and Hip Hop, I do think that she worked her ass off. And you know, we can bring up a couple of people like Kylie Jenner, when they try to sit there and say she's self-made, and it's like, no, she's not. Like, she was born into money, and I'm not just saying just because you're born into money doesn't make you self-made. I think people like Jaden Smith, you know, he grew up into money with, you know, his father and stuff and mother. However, he reinvented himself by doing other things that strayed away from his parents. I mean, like, he still did acting, and he tried to, you know, let me not say try. He did have a rap career, but he also tried to do something else with his money. I mean, he was on freaking Vogue wearing a dress, you know what I'm saying? Like, He was doing different stuff. Like he reinvented himself. He was self-made. He self-made himself. People like Cardi, she is self-made. Like it or not, I mean, even though she probably didn't write a lot of her raps, the girl is self-made. And I thought that was wrong of Wiz Khalifa to say. But like I said, this is the, artists taking jabs at each other. It's giving everybody hype for the Grammys. So I think this is all what it is for. I'm going to tie everything back around, but there's still more to come because there's still celebrities that got into the conversation. Because there was a lot of honorable mentions, like Tory Lanez talking about his chick's tape should have been nominated or some shit. And I'm like, girl, look how orange you fucking look. It gets more crazier. And more artists try to hop into the conversation. Justin Bieber feels that he's R&B. He made a statement. It's an open letter that he posted on his Instagram story, child. Well, not his Instagram story, his Instagram post, child, saying that he's always identified with the R&B genre and he felt like his music was R&B and he's not ungrateful for his nomination, but he just wished that he would be recognized. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing what he said. I'm not reading all that shit. But essentially, he just feels that his music should be R&B. It should be in the R&B categories. I'm like, you better be fucking lucky. Okay, you better be lucky that your ass got nominated in the beginning, because let me tell you something, that album was trash. It was only a couple of songs I listened on there. You better be lucky that your little yummy song got nominated, boy. Like, if you don't get your colonizing ass out of here, child, you are pop. Just because Usher brought you out back in the day, honey, does not negate the fact that you are pop. He's a pop star. Okay, how about that? He's pop too. At the end of the day, none of your music scream R&B. R&B is not like your music. Like, it's not a color thing, because we see white artists excel in the R&B genre. Think about artists like Robin Thicke, okay? And a lot of artists back in the day, I don't really have their names at the moment, but there was definitely some songs that I look back in the day and I'm like, oh my God, a white person did this? Oh my God. Like, it was R&B. The thing about it is, though, your music, Justin, is just pop. Like, it has pop melody. It's the electronic sounding. It's just poppy. Like, I'm just sorry, it's pop. It's okay. And it's okay. Like, it's not like it's a bad thing to be considered pop. Like, I don't know, one R&B, like, okay, like your last album, Changes, was a little, it had like R&B-esque beats, per se. Like I said, be lucky that your ass got nominated, because, boy, you really ain't deserved that shit. My final thoughts with this whole Grammy nominations list debacle. Like I said, there was a lot of artists that came after the Grammys. I mean, if The Weeknd, Nicki Minaj, even Drake, and I was surprised. But again, I wasn't really surprised, because he's just like, he won enough awards, so he doesn't really have to, like, I don't really have to show loyalty to any of y'all. You know what I'm saying? So what he said, which was interesting, he said a whole lot. I'm not going to read it all, but the part where he said, this is a great time for somebody to start something new that we can build up over time and pass on to the generations to come. The way I took it as, it's like, let's make our own award show. You know what I'm saying? Made by artists for artists. I don't know if that's what he's going for, but yeah, I think, because back in the day, the Grammys wasn't considered prestigious back then like it is now. Somebody made it that way. People made it that way. So I think that if we focus on like another award show, or like maybe like I just said, like maybe the artist should make an award show created by them, that awards them, make it prestigious, because nothing is high and mighty until you make it that way. People made the Oscars poppin'. People made the Grammys poppin'. We can do this again with another award show. To be honest, how I feel, I've always felt this way about awards. I don't care if I ever get a single award for anything. You know what I'm saying? Just as long as I'm still doing my thing, just as long as my numbers are still good. Numbers is doing great, by the way, on the TGS, okay? I'm good. I'm fine. And because of all this feather ruffling, the Grammys came out with a statement, which was a bunch of mayonnaise. And like I said, I'm not gonna get into it, but they were talking about like the diversity and picking like the nominations or whatever. I mean, clearly you're not going to change it, so it doesn't matter what you say. I don't care what you said on that little open note letter to the community of the grant. Girl, look how orange you fucking look. You're not going to change. You're obviously not going to change the nominations list. You're not going to add Abel on. You're not going to give Nikki her due diligence. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to give Nikki her props. All the artists I just said that were snubbed, you're not going to put them on there. You had it in your mind that you was going to do this and you did it. So that's just what it is going to be. And I think our response should be to do the same thing the actors did when they said boycott the Oscars or Oscars so white. Even though this is not really a race issue and we can't say Grammy so white because they do award black artists, but there should be some kind of protest against the shady politics, because we clearly see that Deborah Dugan said a lot of things that this page on Twitter, Academy or the Academy Music Business or whatever, they were reciprocating the same things that Deborah Dugan was saying. So there has to be some truth to it. I mean, if there's a lot of people talking about the same thing about the same company, there's got to be some truth to it. There's artists there talking about it. There's big name artists talking about the corruption of the Grammys. We got Weeknd and Nicki Minaj talking about it. Now Drake talking about it. There's a lot of people that like Drake's posts and that are in solidarity with those artists. You know, it's not looking good for the Grammys. And I think, you know, as for, you know, if there's any celebrity that ends up listening to this podcast, you know, boycott the Grammys. Don't show up. Don't submit your music to the Grammys. That's how I would do it. If I was an artist, if I was a singer child, I'd be like, you know what, fuck this shit. Because at the end of the day, I'm making these records, you know, I'm making, as long as my records are selling, I'm getting a bag from this and I'm going home. I don't care if I never get awarded for nothing. I think people need to get that mindset. A lot of people need to get the mindset in there. And if the Grammys want to continue to have these incredible moments, because it's kind of hurting you too. You know, I know there's a lot of new artists like Cardi B people like Cardi B, like new artists like them. They're not going to stand in solidarity with the older artists that done already established their names, and you know, they don't have nothing to lose. Like they are at a point where you can't do nothing to me. I understand that you have the newer artists, but honey, we, the consumer, we want to see the artists that we grew up with. Okay. And we're not going to watch your show if you're not going to have these artists on here. You lost the Weeknd with, you lost Nicki. And if you mess it up, you're going to lose Drake. Those artists still carry lots of viewers. Okay. And it's gonna look bad. I'm not gonna watch the Grammys. I'm gonna give highlights on it, and then we're gonna react to it on the podcast. But I'm not gonna watch it. You're not getting any ratings from me. Okay, I'm gonna watch all the highlights. I want to see how this does, and I'm gonna check to see how these ratings do. And if they have the lowest, which I imagine they probably are because of the pandemic, but also because they pissed off a lot of artists. And they're snubbing a lot of artists. Like, at the end of the day, y'all not even putting on the new artists. Like I said, Summer Walker and Ari Lennox. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like her. Like, those are popular artists right now. Those are popular R&B artists. Like, who y'all gonna have on there? Like, you're gonna have Doja Cat again singing Say So? You're not gonna get Cardi, because Cardi hasn't performed in a hot minute. She hasn't been nominated, so she damn sure ain't performing. Like, who is going to perform at the Grammys? Like, who do y'all got? Y'all should have played the game right, y'all. Y'all do foolery, y'all do clownery. The clown come back to bite, and I think that's what's going on now. And I think I love to see it. I love to see it. But anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments. This is definitely a different take. This is more of a video essay or whatever. We'll see what we'll do. We'll see how this comes out on YouTube, but definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Give us a rate review if you can. And as always, I am your humble host, Darren Greene, and this is the Darren Greene Show, signing out.